Hello YouTube, welcome to Babcia Crafts. This is Christina. I just wanted to go over what you're going to be doing to get your doll's head ready to do a reroot. So what we're going to do is just heat this needle up, and this needle is about the same size, maybe just slightly larger than my 1mm. I'm just going to pick a hole on her head. I actually started in the back and took my needle all the way through and wiggled it a little bit so that I would get a nice big hole. And this needle you can't really take, well, at the ends you can take it through, but at times it just gets stuck in the head, so you just go in one side, in, and then wiggle it, go in and out a little, and take it out. If you can go all the way through, it works the best because the hole is definitely pronounced, more pronounced than the other ones where I just took the needle and heated up and poked it through and took it right back out. They seem to be too small to get the hair through. So you're going to do that all the way around her head, and then if there's areas that are too wide, you can add your own. And then after you're done with that, what I do is I take and these are like $1 or $2 at Target, I take an emery board and I file her whole head to make it smooth so you don't have all these little bumps all over her head. And then after that's done, if I have to, I will paint with my acrylic paints the darker head, or if it's a dark head and I am putting in blonde hair, obviously you don't want this brown, so I will remove this layer or paint over it with the acrylic paint and then seal it with just the regular clear acrylic sealer before I even start rerooting. Some people say that's overkill, but I mean, it depends on if the doll's going to be just a mess around, you know, do this kind of stuff with her, you're always going to be messing around with her, then you probably don't need to or want to go to those extremes. But if it's for somebody else, I try and make sure the head is nice and smooth, that the paint's all redone in the proper color, that it's been sealed, and then after all that and it's dry, then I do my rerooting. So keep that in mind before you even start the rerooting process. I have a large needle about the same size as the tip of, maybe a little larger than the tip of my 1mm crochet hook. And I simply heat the needle up in the candle. And kids, do not do this unless you ask your parents first or get their help. And then what I do is I go through one of the pre-existing holes on her head, being careful not to get the hair. Obviously I do this before I start here. Bring it through like such, and it creates a large hole in her head. I found that's a lot easier than just puncturing it because you don't get the width that you need to pull the hair through. After that, what I do is I am taking a portion of my weave, and this is nice because there's no knotting or anything in the weave. I wet the hair and separate it. Just take out a portion. And make sure it's nice and wet. And I am taking it kind of in the middle, maybe a little bit more towards the end, and wrapping it around my finger. Just like your rerooter tool, that's basically what this is, a homemade rerooter tool without the colored pencil on the end. I hold the hair and I find my next hole, which is right here, I believe. And I push the hair through, take out my rerooter tool, and there's a nice huge loop there. I just pull my hair through. That's that's that method, and I'll show you that one more time because all the holes are pre-done, so this won't take long. Let me move these out of the way. Take a portion of your hair, separate it, make sure it's nice and wet, and then wrap it around your finger, put it on your rerooter tool, and instead of wrapping around your finger twice, I just loop it over because I just want it to slide through. Line it up with the hole and push that puppy right through. Once you get a good enough loop, and you don't have to bring it back out, you can push it all the way through. I just don't want to rip the hair. I'll bring the rest of my hair through. And what I initially did is I took the needle and I go through each of the pre-made, whatever was on here initially, holes, and then depending on the design where I think there might be too wide of a space, like her head was practically, the back of her head was practically bald, I'll just take my needle and stick it in my candle, heat that puppy up, and I like to do this all before I start putting on my hair so that I can just do the hair. Some people might want to do it as they're doing the hair. I just don't want to burn the hair. And we'll just say this could be a line right here. And just stick it all the way down, and then for the top of the head you can't take it all the way through. You could stick it all the way down and come back up. And just make sure that that's nice and wide. If you're not getting a wide enough hole for the hair to fit through, heat up your needle again, go into that hole and just kind of move it around a little bit, and then go up and down. But you want to get that round action, make that hole wider. And you'll just keep doing that all over the head, and when you're done with that, then you can do this rerooting process. The other rerooting process that I use is I wet my hair, I find my next hole, which is right here, stick my crochet hook up, and this is the top of the head, this is the inside obviously, and wrap that hair around my finger like so, grab it with my crochet hook, and then I pull it down through the hole. The only problem I have been finding is that not all the hair is making it through the hole as well as it was doing with this method. And all this is a big tatting or design needle. So that's all you need, and I just take my wire clippers and I snip it off at a slant. And because this was too far apart, I took pliers and I just pushed them in together a little bit, and that's working perfectly to get through the holes. It hasn't broken, it's doing fabulous. So there's one method, and I will get back to you with updates. Okay, so I am done with the little top portion of her head, and this pretty much has taken me quite a while, but it looks like really good coverage. You can part the hair any way you want, and it will work just fine. What I'm going to do now is just, and I started already, is I'm going to put some tacky glue, and it works just fine. You don't need any heavy duty stuff. And I'm just going to squirt it in between each of these little areas. I might have to break out my big bottle. There we go. Squirt it into each of these areas. Make sure that once you have pulled all the hair through and rubber banded it and got it as tight as you want it, and there's always going to be this bunch left over because you're using the weave and not individual hair strands, definitely tacky glue it just to make sure that it's not going to come loose. And then what I will do is I am going to work on the head again tomorrow. I did poke all these holes, but I'm realizing that they're still too small. And I also found that if I poke my needle from the inside, from the outside in, I can't really get the coverage I need. So what I'm going to do is I am going to poke that needle from the inside of the head out, like so. And I'm going to do that all around her head again before I even start with the rest of the weave. So I will see you back here shortly. Okay, now that I'm all done with the holes, I'm just going to take my nail file, or you could take fine sandpaper, whatever's easiest. I'm going to get all these little ridges there on the top of her head just to smooth it out. And like I said, if I was doing someone else's doll, I'd do a much nicer job, but this is my mess around doll. My mess around doll. So I'm just going to file those down, get some 409 because 409 works really good on immediate stains, and wipe these little marks up. And next step is to do the same thing on the back of the head, is basically reroot the hair. Okay guys, quick update. I did the back of the head. It came out really good. And I'm now working on the top of the head. I noticed that if I start punching holes in the top, even if I sand it, it just looks not good. So I'm going to try and stick with the existing size I have. So what I'm going to do is the darning needle method, and this is basically your dental floss through the needle, and then you have this loop, and you just put your hair wet right through the loop, like so, and then pull your dental floss. And this is also making it a lot easier for me to see inside the head, as I can just move the hair over and pick my next hole. And the needle is long enough. The short needles make it hard because you can't really get in there. And then just push that hair through, like so. Trying not to lose that loop because this is fun to try and keep restringing. But there we go, and it's working good, and it really keeps that nice clean look on the doll's head. So hope that helps, and I will get back to you again when this is done. Hello YouTube, just a quick update. I wanted to go over how to reroot with a felting tool. It's a lot easier. I had to graduate to that method because my hands were getting just so ripped up. Let me show you how to do this. After you've made the hole that you want in the doll's head, you simply take your hair, and you don't need the root attached. You could take that off. I just leave it attached so it makes less of a mess. And this is a felting tool right here. It looks like this. And there's different gauges. I usually get the bigger gauges just because they have more barbs on them. But you simply take your hair, lay it over the hole that you want to put it in, and take your felting tool and just stick it in there and keep going up and down, up and down, up and down until you get the amount of hair that you want inside. Like so. And sometimes you might have to hold on to, both sides just a little, just so that it catches good. But you want to go at an angle. You want to grab that new hair and just keep going in and out, in and out, in and out, in and out. And what it'll do is it will knot the hair inside. And you could do this with an individual needle, or if you have a felting tool, you can do that, use that just for a better grip, or you can just simply wrap a rubber band around this. They even have special handles for when you're rerooting a doll hair, but I found that just a regular felting tool works great. And it's a tedious process, but this saves a lot of wear and tear on your hands from using the darning needle method or other methods. and then once you get the amount of hair that you want, I will usually just snip the weave. And you can snip the hair off beforehand. It's more preference than anything. That's it. Just pull it out and you can see that you have plenty of hair stuck in the head. Now if you want more, you just simply grab more hair and keep doing that process. So let's put just a little bit more in there. That's it. You have more hair in the hole now. So that's the felting needle process, and hopefully that saves you some time. Sometimes people say this is quicker. Some people prefer the darning needle method or the two-loop method. It's more preference. Whatever you like to do, whatever feels more comfortable to you, whatever gets it done with a better look, and for other people it's whoever gets it done faster. So I will see you back here at the end when I am done with my dolly's head. Thank you.